You can see my. mm,
Yes, we can see your slides.
so today, because we want to share some experience, I thought of choosing these two topics: support for learning and continuous assessment practices. The support for learning is one of the first projects that I joined as a university lecturer at the University of Queensland University of Technology. I think that we can learn a lot of things from that project, and I'm happy to share experience. And the second one is about how we manage and conduct uh, assessments uh, at the QUT. And I think there are similarities as well as differences due to many reasons. So still, again, it's worth sharing what we do here, and I'm pretty sure most of these things are being practiced at UCSC as well. Uh, so let's begin with the presentation. So this is the roadmap for today. I'm planning to spend 15 to 20 minutes on the first topic, and then another 15 to 20 minutes on the second topic. And I want to save some time for discussions. That will be the most useful part, I think. So in this, in the first session, I would like to talk about the difference between why we need support for learning and why it is not learning support, and the importance of peer learning, and how all these ideas are integrated into the the QUT's math, science, and IT support for learning initiative. So that has been one of the successful projects internationally recognized as well. And also, maybe we can talk about some strengths and challenges when it comes to, implement this kind of setup in a Sri Lankan university. And again, with the continuous assessment, so usually we have weekly programming. I'm only focusing on programming units because I'm mostly involved in first year, second year, sometimes third year programming units. So most programming units have weekly exercises, and they are marked by an automated marking system. And any programming unit has either 2 or 3 assessments, like assignments, or you have one single project with some milestones, at least 2 milestones. And also want to talk about how the teaching team do planning, marking, and providing feedback to students. So that's basically the overview for today. Okay. So, what is this idea called support for learning? I use that term with a reason, because learning support has been there for a long time, and especially it is practiced at primary and secondary school level, uh, particularly with students having some learning difficulties, numeracy and literacy learning difficulties, and also some uh, intellectual disabilities. So they need some extra support. They need some individual support. Uh, and teachers, there are some specially trained teachers to provide learning or develop individual learning and support plans, basically, to help them. So it's basically, the overall idea is called remedial support. You're going to it's a remedy uh, for the existing problem. So this negative connotation has been there when we are trying to adapt learning support into university level, because some of these ideas are not relevant or applicable for university teaching, or when it comes to university students, or I would say tertiary level students. So mainly the reason for having a different term is to avoid this negative psychology. So support for learning is not about primary or secondary level education. We are talking about tertiary level, like undergraduate students. And we are not trying to address any special learning difficulty or any difficulty, but we want to increase student participation and engagement uh, in teaching and learning process. So we have seen certain students are marginalized in the teaching and learning process due to a number of reasons. So with this support for learning framework, we have been able to increase their participation and engagement. And also, one of the targets is to student success and retention. We have seen a lot of students do not complete their university education, or some courses they continue to fail. So therefore, university wanted to address this issue, and so that is also one of the reasons for introducing this kind of framework, because student success and retention is important. And the last one is also important. One of the main objective is to normalize help-seeking behavior, because university had a number of support centers, some math support center, and also student writing support, and some ad hoc kind of support given by tutors and some lecturers. So therefore, there was no single platform for seeking help. Uh, so that is also one of the reasons for establishing the support for learning framework. So any coursework student can basically seek for help, and the path is uh, visible and it's open for anybody, and it's more democratic in that sense, right? And also it's very easy to access. So normalizing help-seeking behavior is also one of the key ideas. Uh, Again, we want to promote peer learning, or in some context we call peer-assisted learning, because so there are different types of peers. So therefore, different terms are used in this context. So peer learning is basically, we all know, the process of student learning with and from each other. So, so, so they feel very comfortable when they are learning in a collaborative manner. For example, study groups or peer-to-peer like partnerships, study partners, or maybe small study groups. And also some good students lead sessions for other students, peer-led sessions. All these things have been in practice in an ad hoc manner. So we wanted to put them into a formal setup and encourage students to, or facilitate student learning, like peer learning, basically. And it is not like traditional learning. Students develop very strong sense of contribution and engagement and ownership to the teaching and learning process, because it's not like passively participating in a classroom setting where the content is delivered in a didactic manner. So it's basically like you contribute to that process, and also you have very high sense of ownership to process. And also they gain a lot of transferable social communicative skills, because they have to work with other students, fellow students, and you have to uh, have mutual respect and respect others' views, and also uh, when somebody's teaching, he or she learns or gains a lot of communicative skills. And so all these things we have observed under peer learning. And also another interesting observation is that they are more open about their learning needs. So students, it's not like in the traditional learning setup, they accept and they are willing to change, and they understand their learning needs and where their weaknesses are and things like that. So there are some positive aspects. So we wanted basically to use this support for learning concept together with peer learning, uh, because we have seen a lot of positive things in those two ideas. So that is how QUT's Math, Science, and IT Support for Learning initiative started. We call it Stimulate. Sorry. So Stimulate stands for, that's a brand name for that initiative, and it's all color coded. The red stand for IT, and science green, and maths purple. So it was formally established in 2013 to provide support for learning for coursework students in math, science, and IT. Before that, there were certain other support centers with different objectives and catering only for math students or science students. So there was no one single place to support like campus-wide or university-wide support. Um, so this is the first time it was established, and so support is provided through mainly through drop-in sessions and group sessions, and when needed, actually now this is more common, but at that time, like 2000, when I joined in 2016, at that time this was not very popular, but there was situations like some remote students and uh, some special situations we used online support, but mainly support was done in drop-in sessions and group support. So I will come to the term peer learning facilitator, who these peer learning facilitators are, and learning support coordinators. They're basically these learning support coordinators and assistant learning support coordinators are academic staff members, they're lecturer and associate lecturer, senior lecturer, category staff. And peer learning facilitators are mainly student volunteers with very high GPAs, and they conduct drop-in sessions. Anybody can walk into the drop-in support area and talk to a volunteer there and get some help. So I will describe this process in detail soon. And online, we use different tools uh, at that time, but now Zoom is very popular. And from time to time, we conduct online sessions. But currently, I'm not involved in this project, so therefore, I don't know much about the online support, what level of online support is given. But what I know is it's now more popular than how it was. And the other good thing is this is not just happening in isolation. This learning support program is strongly linked with the faculty members. So basically, the academic staff who are actually running the courses. We in QUT we call it unit. Each subject is called unit. So we have unit coordinators and lecturers. Sorry about the spelling here. So unit coordinators and lecturers communicate with uh, learning support coordinators. So learning support coordinators are from Stimulate, and unit coordinators are regular faculty members running the actual course. So we used to communicate uh, very often and give information or pass feedback or suggestions very quickly. So students are facing difficulties in understanding your lectures, or maybe the assignment is too easy or very difficult or whatever. And also lecturers from time to time pass their feedback to us, like learning support coordinators, and then we pass that information to peer learning facilitators. So in that way, we have a very good communication model. So this is in addition to the standard teaching and tutoring and everything. So faculty is running lectures and tutorials or workshops or lab sessions. Those are standard formal training or teach. But this is something running in addition to that, and students uh, are very comfortable uh, when they are sharing their views about the lecturer or about the course with the learning support coordinators and peer learning facilitators, because it's less formal and more casual. So again, I think I have told this one. So learning support coordinators provide feedback to unit coordinators and lecturers about the issues related to student learning, particular to that semester, or some particular assessment item. And again, lecturers provide more details about their expectations from students. So this is what he's expecting from students in this semester and main areas to focus on. So that is passed to the peer learning facilitators, and peer learning facilitators pass that information to students at drop-in support and also group support. So group support is basically conducted by the academic staff member, like a learning support coordinator or assistant learning support coordinator, not by student volunteers. From time to time, we identify uh, there are some common needs. So therefore, rather than conducting multiple drop-in sessions, we announce, okay, we're going to have a group support session on this particular topic or this particular assessment. We're going to discuss and explain what you're supposed to do and help as a group. So that's to avoid heavy traffic during assessment due weeks mainly, right? Uh, so, so again, a little bit more about the structure. I think this may be useful if anyone is interested in implementing something like this at UCSC or in Sri Lankan University. So we have, this is the organization structure. At the top level, there's a professional staff member. In Sri Lankan context, we can say like administrative staff member. He's basically uh, looking after the strategic direction and liaise with university faculties and committees. And that is basically the management is done by a professional staff member. He's basically overseeing all three streams, math, science, and IT. So he's there and he's reporting to university officials. And learning support coordinators, for each stream, there is a faculty, academic staff member. He or she is either a lecturer or senior lecturer level position. So for each stream, there is a learning support coordinator. Under each learning support coordinator, there are assisted learning support coordinators. They are the people who actually work with the peer learning facilitators and doing all kinds of things. So basically, the learning support coordinators are developing the strategy or conceptual framework for each stream. So I was one of them. Like when I used to work, there was only one assistant learning support coordinator for IT. I work with my learning support coordinator, and together with the together we work together to develop support for learning program for IT streams. So peer learning facilitators are basically a large team of student volunteers. These students are like students who have completed like 2 semester of academic studies and with higher GPA. So I'll explain that later. So they are, some of them can only support math, some of them can like math, science, or IT, but most of the time, a given peer learning facilitator can either support maths and IT or maths and science, like a combination. So sometimes we had like who can support all these areas as well. So that's a large pool of student volunteers. And we had one student support officer, it's again a professional staff member, to look after the support center operations and also rostering peer learning facilitators, because different student volunteers have different timetables. So their uh, free times are different. So at the beginning of the semester, so their free times are all gathered and we create a roster, and that is done by student support officer. But again, the learning support coordinators also work together to develop that framework. Uh, okay, so let me talk about who these peer learning facilitators are. So we we recruit them for their academic skill and their desire to support their peers. So there are students who are very good at their academic studies, very high GPAs, and also they have a strong desire to help the community, student community. So we pick those people, and they are drawn from a range of courses, which programs, with the programs they support, because they are coming from the same degree programs, so that they are supporting their juniors most of the time. So to be considered for a PLF role, student must have completed at least 2 semesters of full-time study and achieved GPA of 5.5 or above. Uh, uh, so most of the time they have 6 or 7 in their specific subjects he or she supports. So overall, you have to have 5.5, and on the subject that he or she is planning to help or support should have to have at least 6 or 7. So having recruited them, we provide extensive training on how to support, how to become an effective learning support facilitator, and identifying student needs and learning needs and communication skills and everything, and also leadership. Provide training to develop their leadership capacities, and also for ongoing PLFs, every year we arrange advanced training and professional development opportunities as a reward for them. And also every year a certificate of appreciation is given with mentioning total number of hours volunteered, and we have made some arrangements to include this into the transcript as well. So that will be useful for their higher studies or they join industry. So that will be a good indication that they have done a good work while they are students. And also learning support coordinators and assistant learning support coordinators. Under each theme, we organize like pizza nights and casual meetups to develop team spirit and also discuss some ideas how in what way we can improve our support programs and what issues these PLFs have and things like that. So mainly to uh, to maintain the team spirit and ideas for future improvements, right? So this is how we conduct. This is the old one, but now they have moved to like a bigger place. So you can see the support center is color coded, science support, math support, and IT support, and IT support is red. So mainly PLFs are sitting in these areas. Students drop in, and there's a student support officer. So she is basically directing students to available peer learning facilitators. So this is one of the rooms we had, but now it's a bigger place. The support center is open from 8 to 5 p.m. all 5 weekdays, and these dropping sessions are conducted by PLFs according to a roster. So it's not only tutorial exercises or assignment, but anybody can turn up and say, I have some difficulties understanding this particular concept. So then the student volunteers or PLFs are very happy to explain what these concepts are. And also you can see there are some resources, learning resources as well, like books and worksheets and things like that. And the group support is we conduct 2 to 3, depending on the need, sometimes 4 group support sessions per semester. It's conducted by a learning support coordinator or assistant learning support coordinator. I conducted mostly the IT workshops, group support sessions. So we announce the place and time, and these are like collaborative learning spaces. And now actually every table is now coming with a computer as well, with a large computer screen. So then they can work together, and we conduct these support sessions. Mainly in the semester, we try to organize those workshops or group support sessions in week 5, 6, 7, because those are the busy times for assignment 1. So, and then again, assignment 2 is due in these weeks. So again, we can see like some heavy traffic in this room. So we divert this heavy traffic to group support session here, and that solves some practical problems as well. And finally, the learning support coordinators and the assistant learning support coordinators, we do a lot of things like every semester we have to recruit PLFs and organize their training and conducting like mentoring them uh, uh, about the subject and also how to conduct these support sessions. And we have to organize extra enhancement programs for them as a reward, some professional development and technology update sessions. And also we have to make sure that daily operations are done smoothly at the support center. And also we provide suggestions for improvement for curriculum development and unit delivery, because we are getting a lot of input from student community about teaching and the content and assessments and everything. So from time to time, we have some established channels to update lecturers and the faculty on their teaching. And also we have to maintain regular statistics about how many people, how many students attended drop-in sessions and what are the peak times, and that is useful for organizing, the rosters for PLFs, and report progress to the math science and IT coordinator, who is basically looking after all these three streams, math, science, and IT. So that's the initiative. So I would like to take a few minutes to answer any questions you have. Then after that, we can move into the second topic. Any questions? So one of the main reasons for talking about this idea or this project is I think we know at Sri Lankan universities we have this model. We call it the Kuppi model. So students basically help, senior students help junior students, and also students in the same year also help each other. So this has been there in the system for a long time. So why don't, and sometimes it is recognized and sometimes it is discouraged for various reasons. And also students, some are very good at doing that because they have the natural ability to do it. But sometimes again, uh, sometimes the content they deliver or the concepts they teach are sometimes incorrect, or maybe some issues with the knowledge they pass to their peers. So therefore, I know some lecturers and the university authorities uh, did not have a very good, like, positive uh, view or perspective about that. But by organizing this kind of thing, or by making, by formalizing that process and giving this kind of recognition to their work, I think we can get the advantage, maximum advantage of that practice, isn't it? Any questions?
One question, how does it differ from our Kuppi in Sri Lanka? And what do you think about it also?
Again, because this is open for everybody and there is a standard open process for anybody to come and access or seek help, I think this is more approachable. I know sometimes, the Kuppi system is conducted in an informal manner. Sometimes only the maybe those who know each other very well get more benefit, and others don't get much benefit. And also there may be some issues in like providing or delivering that service to everybody. But here it's a very open and standard way. Anybody can come and access or seek for help. And the PLFs or the PLFs are given a very good training about how to help somebody and how to understand the learning needs, and get a lot of training, and that is useful for their career, or if anyone is going to pursue in an academic career or in the private sector, whatever. So you get a good training, and also the quality is ensured because we recruit only those who have high GPAs. And yeah, so there are many differences as well.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Now, with regard to the support, sometimes I have seen the students don't like to request the support from the teachers.
Yes,
They like to request the support from their
yes,
colleagues or even from the friends. I mean, the friends, they may have a different networks in their context, depending on that from the batch, maybe senior batch, or even maybe a student union. Yeah, maybe.
yes.
Now, when you have a formal type of a thing,
Mm.
even this is, we are talking about the student support with respect to the tutoring or subject matter. There may be other type of a support also required in a educational context. That's what we do with the counseling
Yeah.
and also
Children,
providing the assistance and the financial need. So those things are a different type of support. I think it's not an academic support. It's a kind of a different support. But in academic support, my feeling is when you have a formal structure, some students may come, some students may not come. So even that support, you have to get some among the students. It's rather than the academic staff members involved, even the maybe some students in the same batch or maybe some kind of volunteer groups coordinating that. Otherwise, very hard to expect people come and request the support from the students, because the most of the time in a teaching process, there is a gap between the students and the teachers. Especially, it depends on if the teacher is very close to the students, and most of the time it's quite different. Now, if you look at the same thing, maybe junior staff members when they are teaching or conducting some sessions, it's a quite different relationship they have with the students. Just maybe one or two batches seniors people, and maybe in a very other people, very senior person, the situation might be different.
Yes.
So that is a kind of a thing that I have seen a issue in administering the learner support for the tutoring purpose. And the CUPI thing is as that is has become a kind of a thing. So I have seen two things. Most of the time, these things are focused based on the exam rather than for the academic interest. Why people needed this one to pass. Sometimes they just come and there are copies based on it. And again, I don't know, some staff members at UCSC told sometimes ago, even if a person who is doing the copy has done some mistake.
Yes.
So everybody who comes for the lecture notes, it's a completely different. And then, so the lecturer feel it very uncomfortable because he has taught something, but then they are writing in a completely different thing from there. And it looks like, and most of the these things are because of a language issue. I think in the local context I have seen, because we are conducting the lectures in English, and the majority of the people are trying to understand from Sinhala, and they are Tamil. They are coming from their background. So initially they have a big problem of that understanding that is actually, it's kind of a problem. It happens. So those are my two observations, what to mention. I mean, based on it's a very important. I completely agree. Prior learning support we should provide, and some teachers don't like this one, but it is a very strong thing. Even providing the facilities and also creating an environment for the peer learning is very important. And let the even, I mean, sometimes we let even at two people to use the lecture host to do that one. And then there are sometimes I have seen as an administrator, sometimes teachers say students are not coming for the lectures, but they are going for the cookies.
Yes.
Okay, if you looked at there is a large number of people there than the normal lectures when they don't come. So as a result, we force people to come for the lectures by putting in a minimum requirement of attendance, just like in a normal, I mean, the school level kind of in a condition we put it. I mean, it is not good for a higher education context. I mean, the students need to have a freedom in learning in that context, I feel it. So, yeah, so there may be a lots of practical problems, but generally it should be promoted. I agree.
Yeah, I understand. So yeah, those are the challenges, I think, cultural and social and again, financial and lots of factors are involved. And um, to the concern that Professor Hevagama Sean, I think mostly this support is delivered through drop-in support and conducted by peer learning facilitators. They are fellow students, 1 year or 2 years senior to them, but from time to time, academic staff member, they are not from the regular faculty, it's a separate unit, but it's again academic level position running group support. And these group support sessions are also like helped or supported, assisted by some PLFs as well, because one person can't like address the whole group, particularly in programming questions. So there are some peer learning facilitators sitting here and there to help the session. So mostly it's conducted by peer learning facilitators. They are just voluntary students, but only thing is there is strong guidance and training is given to them by a trained academic staff. So that strength is there. And they are also not conducting these support sessions in isolation. They always try to link their support with the standard teaching carried out by faculty members. So we are trying to align our support as much as possible with programming units and their assessment deadlines and things like that. So anyway, I think so because we are running out of time, so maybe I can move on to the next topic, and if we have time, we can discuss more. Is that okay, Dr. Rasika?
Yes, it is fine and it is better also.
Okay, so for that section, as I said, I do not have any slides prepared, but I'll show you some documents and some web pages from our Blackboard. So let me stop share this one and share my screen. Dr. Rasika, can you see what I'm sharing? Programming Principal?
Yes, we can see that. Yes,
Okay,
programming.
so I'm sharing my Blackboard, which is our learning management system, something like Moodle. So I've got, let me show you some. So here what I wanted to emphasize is emphasize the process that we follow in designing and marking and providing feedback to the students. So at the beginning of the semester, we provide this schedule. I think maybe most of these things are being done at your place as well. So just so these are the topics, and the assessments are clearly given, and the contribution to the final grade is also given. So then usually we provide feedback within 2 weeks, because now, for example, if you look at this schedule, so this assignment task 1A is due in week 4, and part B of that assessment is due in week 7. So if we do not provide our feedback in time, before they submit the second part of that assignment, then there'll be an issue, because they don't have any time to improve or make changes or whatever. So again, the same thing happens here. Task, the assessment 2A is given, and then within 2 weeks we have to give. So here mid-semester break also, this is 1 week. So sometimes we get this like 3 weeks, sometimes 2 weeks, but we have to make sure that we provide feedback within 2 weeks. So maximum 2 weeks we can allow. Then after that, students start contacting us. So we haven't received our feedback, and we want it before the next one, because we don't know whether I'm going to, he or she doesn't know whether he or she is going to fail the unit or not. Again, the final exam, after that, there's a very strong deadline before the exam board. So we will have to follow that as well. So that's about feedback timeframes. And usually these units have around 300, 400 students. So we have a fairly large teaching team. So, and each course has a unit coordinator. Most of the time it's like a senior professor or senior lecturer. So we as a team, sometimes the senior lecturer first come up with the first draft of the assessment, and it is circulated among the teaching team and get more feedback and improve and make some changes. And after that, it is released to the students. So when the assessment is released, again, I can show you some past. This is one that we have just released, I think, assessment task 1. We give, this is what we give, right? So maybe all this information, estimated time to complete task is approximately 30, and weighting part A is 7%, and altogether 30%. And individual, and then what you need to do, study the client requirements for the assignment. From especially during the COVID time, we made some changes. We are not giving this is only for certain courses. We are not giving the specification in writing. We publish a video, like a client video, like a client interview. The client is expressing the requirements. So the student has to watch the video and identify the client's requirements. So So that's why you need to refer to the Blackboard and understand the client requirement. But before that, we provided the detailed requirements. I can show you that as well. And then again, part B, presentation requirements. For this IFP 104 is the course code. We have code presentation guide. So if the variable names or commenting or various other programming like coding standards are presented here. So if you are not following those standards, you will be penalized. Right? And then and what to submit, everything is given, how to submit, and it's a kind of very detailed document is provided to the student. And then so let me, oh yeah, so after that we give this rubric as well. For part A, let me just so these are described according to the task they have been given. All required images and text are well designed and sufficiently detailed and distinct, and then you get 7. Otherwise 6.5 and like that. So no evidence of addressing the criteria and something like that. So all these the breakdown is given clearly. And if a student has not done certain things, or if we think he should be given 4.9, then we have to give student explicitly why you are not getting 7, but getting this, and this has to be given. Otherwise, the student might ask questions, and also it is generally accepted that they have a right to know that, and also it is useful for their learning, subsequent learning. So when this is marked, before that, I'll show you something that we used to deliver. So this was done in 2020 semester 1. So we did not publish a video, but we provided detailed description about the task. Assignment 1, part B. I'm just showing you this example here. So motivation, goal, and then some illustrative example and some screenshots. And this is like, and these are some of the cases, and like that we give complete detail about the task. And also some code templates are provided for them, and they have to use that as requirements and marking guide, some hints. So you can't use any third-party libraries. Only standard libraries can be used. If you're using them, then you will be penalized. Plagiarism detection things you should not do. You must not make your solution visible online via cloud-based. Sometimes students publish their work. So this is something like that. So after students have completed and submitted, the teaching team again meet and decide how marking is to be done. And then because there are 300, 400 students, and around I think 8 to 10 markers are involved in marking, it's very important to ensure that marking is consistent across the batch. For that, we are trying our best to make it more structured. So therefore, we provide students with some sample feedback. So then they don't have to even, not students, markers. So then the markers do not even have to worry about what to type as feedback, because the feedback is also given to the markers. So they don't have to strictly stick to these comments, but they can write their own comments as well. But this is useful, especially when you are marking large batches. So perfect solution is very poor attempt. These are the ones, heavy penalty. These are the situations where heavy penalty is applied and no penalty, and data can be imported from external sources competence. So this is like task, this is task related comments. So you can say only event names and dates have been extracted correctly, image URL is not working. So like that, you have to give very specific feedback. Then it's very easy to manage the process. And that increases the productivity of the marker as well. So I can show you when grading assignments, we go to the Blackboard. So this is one assignment submitted by one student. So the rubric is now integrated into the marking area. So we just click on that. The same rubric is there. So the marker has to just select what is appropriate, and the mark is automatically calculated. At the bottom, you get the feedback as well. So I think you can see. So this is what the marker has done. Good, but the solution to part B does not match the requirement. The way you identified the winner is incorrect. The same token must appear on top of 4 separate columns. Also, the game must stop as soon as this happens. So something like this. Sometimes they give more feedback, some are very short, but at least the student should know why he's getting 2 for this code quality, why he's not getting full marks. His code is not entirely easy to read due to insufficient commenting, poor layout, and things like that. And again, yeah, so like this. So these have not been done. So like that. So we can expedite the marking process by integrating the rubric to the Blackboard and passing our comments or feedback to the students through the Blackboard. And in addition to that, we have another automated marking system for weekly exercises. We have this one. This is for something like this. We have an automated marking system. The topic 1 is the week 1 exercises, topic 2 for week 2 exercises, and topic 3 for week 3, and so on. So up to here we have topic up to topic 3 is available for this semester. So what you can do is you can just go to this and see the exercises. So you get like every attempt you get a mark. So you can try until you get 100 for certain tasks. At certain tasks, there is a number of there's a restriction for number of attempts. If you do not complete your task within those number of attempts, then you lose marks. Like that. So because they are formative assessments, we are not going to give a limit on how many attempts are allowed, but for this one, so it is worth 0% of your final grade. So you can, the task description is here, and then You can download the skeleton and edit the source code here. You can edit your source code and run. Right, it's all automated. So if we are going to upload your own file rather than typing your solution here, you can also upload your code separately and run as well. Okay, so that is also allowed. Or you can just type it here. So this is a second year unit C#. So if I put everything together, basically we have weekly exercises and 1 or 2 assignments. And when the assignment is before the assignment is given to the students, usually the teaching team meet and discuss and do some moderation, and is passed to the student with the detailed description of the task and how to submit and all kinds of things, and then provide detailed feedback within a very restricted time frame. And again, we give feedback as much as possible. And there's finally one final thing. So we always try to give marks for what they have done, but not to cut marks for what they have not done. So always we have to find something that, okay, you have done this much, so we appreciate that and give some marks rather than trying to deduct marks. So that is one of the policies we always encourage markers. Try to recognize or try to appreciate what the student has done, so rather than trying to penalize for what he or she has not done. So that's I think for today. So we do not have much time left. So if anyone is interested in getting more information, you can contact me. I'm more than happy to give more information. Any questions?
Just a small thing. Have you ever tried the peer assessment in the LMS? Because I don't know about the Blackboard, but in a Moodle, now usually we can be given an assignment, and students, you can have it a 2-level assignment where first part is where they have to submit, the second part they will have to mark the submission of another person submission. So you have to define the criteria, and then it says you give a 60% for the assignment mark for your submission, 40% for assessing someone else. Your identity will not be visible. That is very good for the large number of classes. Then you have to define the marking rubric. I mean, what are the marks and what are the things. So the student will have to really put an effort. They will first, they will have to do it in the first period. You can define as a submission time, another period at a marking time for someone else. So I have tried several times for in my courses. So it's a very interesting, because they can really learn. Not only, but if a student is not active, then will not be able to do it. And sometimes a person has to submit in order to mark to someone else things. So otherwise, he loses the marks. You can have that freedom there, and that's a one model. And there are other things. For example, even a discussion forum, you can say the first week for the posting something, but you think about with respect to the given topic or given question. The next one would be next week, maybe. Let's say when you have a discussion for 2 weeks in a course for some particular topic, and the first week post something, what you feel, and this next week you are not allowed to post, but you have to reply others' post. So
Yes.
you will get some sort of a rating for these kind of thing. I think under the continuous assessment, these kind of an activities teacher needs to promote. Peer learning could be, I mean, I have seen it could be, there are lots of facilities, and the learning space is much more better to promote the peer learning in an online learning environment. And that is actually people really learn, not during the lectures, but after that, by participating in those activities. And that is why if a teacher can given a more weight for the continuous assessment, it is not just 1 or 2 discrete assignments. Continuously, students need to engage in that part. And then probably that's really challenging, but the students don't like, I have seen, because the workload of the course will go up. I mean, the workload of the teachers is also go up, and the both parties sometimes don't like that kind of a course to conduct. I mean, this is a model where you just go for a once in a week and do the lecture and come, and after 3 or 4 weeks, you give one assignment and ask a TA to mark it and give a feedback. A very flexible model, but a real, if a teacher really practice the continuous assessment, it is definitely going to be a tough course for both parties, not only for the teachers, students, and also all the people involved. And then the good thing, if someone can do it, exams is not a very important thing. Even you can have a small final summative assessment will be in a smaller percentage would be good enough.
Yeah, true. It is always up to the lecturer to decide how much peer assessment is going to be included. So some group assignments, we leave some part for that, and the group members have to assess others, so that give some contribution to the final grade. And also during so every week we have these workshops, and workshops are conducted in a collaborative learning space, so they are always encouraged to work together in a collaborative fashion to solve the problem, but they have to submit individually, but they can always work together. So in that way, we are trying to incorporate all these things in multiple ways, but still there's room for improvement, as you said, is correct.
So any other questions? And if there's no question, that we will wind up the session, and so we can wait 1 or 2 minutes if there's any questions from others. So it seems there's no question, and so thank you very much, Dr. Dulip, for coming here and sharing your experience and answering our questions also. And we will meet at the end of the session. So thanks again for coming and sharing your experience. And good night for you. And it's very late night, I think.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for everyone for joining the session.